Hello and welcome to a new edition of our show. Money Means Business. As you always say, business means a lot of money. Stability and business also mean a lot of money. We're talking tourism today, but there is an event that took place on the local scene, and that's the expanding of the General Electric's activities in Egypt, especially in the energy and transportation sectors. There were negotiations actually taking place by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Jeffrey Emlet, who is the CEO of the International General Electric Company. Spokesman for the presidency, Ambassador Ala Youssef, said that the President Sisi confirmed Egypt's keenness with the cooperation with the company, which will boost local industry. The official spokesman of the company confirmed that Mr. Jeffrey Emlet, the CEO of General the company, stated that the company takes pride in its activities undertaken in Egypt and in the business climate in Egypt also. The renewable energy, the big projects in the renewable energy, the and the solar energy projects and wind energy and a lot more. But we're talking actually tourism, where we're heading, what's going on, the latest that is going on in Egypt, talking about in Egypt and talking about tourism in Egypt. I'm Nermin Nazim. With us, we have our guests, Mr. Akram Allam, tour guide, industrial, actually international lecturer. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. And Mr. Walid Batouti, area representative of the World Federation of Tourist Federation. Thank you very much for being with us. I understand that you're very hot, like still, our AC is not really working efficiently. I think, like Ramadan and, like things are just slow. I'm Nermin Nazim, and we'll go for a short break, after which we'll be coming back and starting our talk to us. Don't go away.
Sharm el-Sheikh is probably one of the safest locations to come on a holiday.
I feel really, really safe here. Really safe place.
Yes, it's a safe place to be.
Safe and enjoyable place to be.
It's really, really safe. Egypt will absolutely fly in the next few months and years. I've been here for 7 years.
Been coming to Sheikh for the past 20 years.
I've lived here for 13 years. This is the second time I've been to Sharm el-Sheikh.
Hi, this is my first time out to the Sinai area.
I've been living in Sharm el-Sheikh for several years now.
And I'm here to stay. Sharm el-Sheikh is my home.
It's safe, we're waiting for you, and we are welcome.
Anybody who had any reservations must be mad. Come, it's fantastic here.
Come to Sharm.
And we're back again to Money Means Business, and we have with us our guests, Ms. Walid Batouti, area representative of the World Federation of Tourist Guides, World Federation. Thank you very much again for being with us. And Mr. Akram Allam, the international lecturer. Thank you, sir, again for being with us. And then, as we always just discussed, like, well, I don't know more, and we don't know more than what you do. What's the latest in tourism, in the field of tourism, the events that took place since last we met, actually? What's new?
Well, let's all agree first that tourism is the fastest business to bring money into our economy.
Yeah.
It's an industry that doesn't require any infrastructure. Basically, we have everything that can give us wonderful income and a lot of job opportunities. We have to use what we've got. What I'm here to tell you is that there is a lot of hope in the next season. The phones are ringing again. Bookings are coming. Some accounts are reviving. And definitely the tourists will be coming in a much better way than we have seen in the last 5 years. I'm also glad to report that there is such a wonderful relationship now between antiquity and tourism. Both sides have joined hands together and cooperating very strongly to bring a new product and new ideas into the market. I can tell you about the new tombs that will be opened in Luxor, in the Valley of the Kings and Valley of the Queens. The tomb, the most beautiful tomb of Egypt, the tomb of Queen Nefertari, will be opened very soon. Look, it was closed from 1990. So a lot of people, this tomb is very famous, extremely famous in America, I would say, and in Europe. And there are a lot of fans that would like to come and see it. So that would be a great incentive for people that want to come to Egypt. A lot of improvements are going to happen in all the tourist sites. Security measures. Our airports are much safer now than before, and I heard today that the Russian aviation authorities are waiting to come to Egypt to give a report on our coastal airports, Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, to give a statement to resume their flights to these airports. So
actually, we deserve it after
absolutely we do.
Belgium, proved that they have no security.
And what about the shooting in the U.S. now? We hear about something like this every day.
Definitely. Why then just spreading false information when they just have got the wrong?
Actually, a friend of mine called me yesterday from the U.S. and he wants to come back, and he asked me, is it safe to come to Egypt now?
Well, is it safe to go to the
States
now?
That's what I told him. I told him it's safer than than in the U.S. because we don't have these shootings everywhere. So light at the end of the tunnel. Business is coming. Maybe not as strong as we want, but it's a better step. It's much better than we've had in the past 5 years.
Yes.
I'm good to see the cooperation between all the parties involved, and we only have to get ready and improve ourselves as well.
Well, what's very interesting is that I hear from you and from other people in different authorities and ministries that there is cooperation. We did not have this before. Like Egyptians are famous for not working in
we used to deal with islands.
Yes.
And there used to be a show of power, run by each department. Now it's time to forget all this and put the cards on the table and start working together if we want good for this country.
Do we want to do that?
I think, but sometimes we lost the way. We don't know the know-how, but we definitely all do.
Then just talking about the syndicate, do you still have problems there, or things are just smooth, going as expected?
Well, I'm not really following with the syndicate right now because it's a very difficult time for them even.
Yes.
There is no tourism, there's business. The issue was how can we deliver the message to the authority that we are with no income for the past 5 years. People haven't seen a single tourist for the last 5 years, so it's very difficult really to explain this and to understand. I mean, we can sit and talk about it, but people do not understand how difficult it is. So someone who has tuition for schools, university, medicine, food, maintenance of a house,
expenses.
any expenses, how can he explain this to anyone who did not go through the same procedures for 5 years? Going back to what Mr. Allam was saying, the tomb of Seti I as well in Valley of the Kings will be open on the 1st of November. And about the cooperation between both ministers, we should not forget that the background of the Minister of Antiquity, His Excellency Minister Khalid Al-Anani, his background was tourism as well. Okay. And he's open-minded, the Minister of Tourism is open-minded, and they both as well work together with the Minister of Aviation, right? And they put the target, their target is the interest of Egypt.
Yes.
Not the interest of the Ministry of Tourism, not the interest of the Ministry of Antiquity, not the interest of the Ministry of Aviation, no. Their target, I think they sat together and they agreed the target is Egypt. We have a lot of things that needs a lot of work. A lot. But we need to take the first step towards the right direction. And I think they're doing this right now. I think, but there's Egypt needs to be taken more professionally. Okay? The haphazard work has to stop, and we have to act professionally. I mean, I can talk about the things that happened to me just recently. I've worked with Engelbert, the legendary singer Engelbert, who came to Egypt, and he showed his love to Egypt. And he said in a press conference, he says, I wonder how I never came to Egypt before. This is a great country. I can't wait to go home, bring my family, and come back.
And tell other people about it.
And tell other people about it. Yes, thank you. And the senior vice president of the World Bank, I flew to Luxor and I worked with him over there. And then he came to Egypt, and as Mr. Allam is already telling you, the phone has been ringing. The phone has been ringing is a sign that there's people already asking. And you have to put in consideration that we are a reliable source. Maybe the government did not know this yet, but we are a very reliable source to the past visitors. They don't particularly, and they're not the ones that are coming, but they have friends they want to send, or relatives, or kids, or uncle, or a brother, or whatever. So they call their contact in this country, okay? They're not going to call the travel agency. Definitely. They call the person that they have a personal relationship and they trust. Is it safe to come?
That's the first question.
So it's very important to have the guide who is pre the country, with the country, to say good things about the country. You know, we have some people, of course, that it's not. Well, they're not.
That's why I asked, you know, like this question about, you know, the syndicate, because some people hearing like we're not with the country, they're spreading wrong information about.
We all need re-evaluation. Let's be fair. We all need to be rechecked again. Everybody that works in the sector of tourism, from the travel manager, from the owner of the travel company, from the tour operator, from the transfer man, from the driver, from the office boy, tour guide, from the waiters on the boats. Let's put everybody under a scan. We all need this. We all need to be checked. We all need to go through a refreshment course if we want to take it serious. If we will continue on the haphazard work, let's continue. But I mean, I don't know.
We need to follow one fixed agenda. Now there's so many agendas on the table.
Yes.
We need to make it into one. And if we find the right formula, I think the business will be wonderful. To add to what Mr. Walid just mentioned, there was a lot of brain drain in the business. There are a lot of people that left the business because they've lost their job, or they could not make a steady income, or because there was a zero income. You know, so there are a lot of people, very qualified people, that have left the job, and they had different offers either in foreign countries or in other jobs. So when the business comes back, we will have a serious problem. Because we'll have new beginners.
Yes.
And it takes years and years and years to teach them and to get them into the cycle. So this is something that has to be considered also. The brain drain that happened in the business, very people have left. Now we have a lot of new beginners, people that don't know anything about the business, and they should be taught from zero. And that is a serious matter, to tell you the truth. So when we need to start again, we need to start on different bases than before. Unfortunately, Egypt did not do any promotions. Egypt used to, you know, just sit there and the tourists are coming. I think after the crisis we are through now, we're getting through, that we are through now, we have discovered the true picture. No, we need to do some sales. We need to do promotions. We need to bring our voice out to the world. Do we have the qualified people to do that? That is also something that we have to tackle. So part of the business, since money means business, is to employ the right people in the right job.
Right.
You know, enough employing people just because they are related to someone or they know someone. Enough employing people that just jumped into the job with a parachute. Enough, enough, enough. We need to get the right people. This is a very sensitive business, and the outcome is wonderful. So this is a very sensitive business. We need to employ the right people to do the right job, you know, because this is how Egypt looks in the world. So we really should be very selective.
Okay, and the question also, you know, Samina you know, told us before that not, you know, if the people here, you know, some people are it's somehow under control here. You can control, but you know, like with travel agents abroad, sometimes they control the influx of tourists or the tourists that book through them to come to Egypt. Is that true?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
It's like they just, you know, divert them to other places, or you know, they certain places to go to, you know, so that they don't have the real feel of Egypt, or just they don't really get what Egypt can really offer.
This is a huge mistake we did in the past. Is we left our destiny in the hand of the Turkish tour operators who bought some travel companies in Russia.
Yes.
And as you know, Russia used to give Egypt about 2.8 million tourists a year. So they started to divert them to other destinations, and that was political, of course, issue. So we needed an Egyptian entity to go to Turkey and have an Egyptian travel company, could be through
Excuse me, Wali, why do we go to Turkey? Why don't we go to Russia directly?
I'm sorry, we go to Russia.
Yeah.
To open a travel company in Russia and to be the one exporting from there, pure Egyptian, with Egyptian employees, and they speak Russian and they understand the culture.
Yes.
I put 6 lines under this. They understand the Russian cultures, they understand the needs.
Yes.
And we need to under-promise and over-deliver. If we really want to rebuild and come back again and have a strong comeback in the market, we need to do this. We need to, what we promise, we deliver. It's not that I give you something and then when you come here you find something else. It is not that I give you a picture and then I say it's a Photoshop, it's a computer picture for advertisement. No, right? I need to explain to the tourists that you will be spending between 2 to 3 hours between the pyramid and the Egyptian museum because we have traffic.
Yes.
Okay, all these things he needs to know ahead of time, because if he comes here, he would be very much annoyed. Otherwise, we have to find the solution. When you say, well, you sit and talk on a TV show and you tell us a solution. Yes, the solution is there. We should start using the Nile now. The Nile will save about 2 hours and 20 minutes from the trip from the pyramid all the way to the Egyptian museum. Bring them on the ring road, okay, and drop them right under the ring road and have a port. This port will take the tourist in shuttle boats between that ring road and all the way to the, just in front of the Egyptian museum with a little tunnel.
Yes.
And here you go. First of all, you've saved, I mean, I'm not from the moon to think this way. It just needs someone to think.
To think and to actually take it in his own hands to start really working on that.
And we need somebody to do it.
There's so many ideas. We have to facilitate the tourist transportation, the tourist movement in the city.
Yes.
Imagine how many gallons of diesel we will save, since we're talking about saving energy and power.
Yes.
And imagine how many buses are not going to go into the city, because they will park under the ring road over there, and they will shut down the engine. And here you gave another job to other youth, okay, to run these boats back and forth, and still you gave them some also an extra tour in the Nile, you know.
Exactly.
Let them see
that would
the
be
Nile.
nicer than being stuck in the traffic.
And we do not have to plan the trip to the tourist as we want. If he used the Nile, it has to be a belly dancer and the reeling dervish over dinner. This is very sick. Why don't we have just boats that he can sit, him and his wife, and have coffee?
Walid, isn't that what they do in France? Isn't that what they do in Amsterdam, in Holland?
You know better?
Oh yeah. No, I mean not the belly dancer, but I mean using the river.
The Egyptian belly dancer.
No, this is a code we always say, do you know better than them? I mean, yes.
the using the river as an attraction and as a part to facilitate the trip that the tourists do.
Yes.
So we have everything, but we need to, as I said, we need some new ideas. We need people that are
Again,
ready.
thinking out of the box, we came out of revolutions. It means, you know, we have to revolutionize everything.
As I said this a million times, we're not creating the wheel. We have to look at other countries and what they do.
Right now, we tour downtown all the time, and we show our appreciation for what's happening.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They are facelifting most of the buildings, and they're doing a great job.
Yes.
But none of them did ever think, while they're doing this facelift, I have to prepare the tour guides for a city tour.
Exactly.
Not that when they finish, then they say, we need to plan a city tour because of the construction and the building. Because in Vienna, they give you, I think it's 40 euro a tour to circle in downtown to watch the buildings while you're sitting in an open bus.
An open roof bus, yeah.
Okay, so right now we're doing this in downtown, and they're doing a great job. And they're taking all the signs of the shops and everything, and they're bringing out the buildings. Excellent. Excellent work.
The architecture in downtown is really marvelous, and it's the downtown with the new architecture. Sorry, with the old architecture that's now being facelifted is like an open museum.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, I've watched some old buildings that are being brought down. That's the problem. Even in some other areas, you know, like people just think they just take this and make it in a piece of land and just make it in a high-rise ugly building.
That's mostly in Alexandria.
It happened in Alexandria, in Kafra Abdo, you know, during the revolution. They just brought down so many historical places.
But Cairo has a different character, and the buildings in Cairo, they certainly have a different character and a different prestige. So let's see what we've got. I mean, we don't want to, just cry and be sorry. Let's see what we've got, you know. The other issue, there are a lot of people the people that work in the tour business have suffered tremendously in the past 5 years.
Of course.
In all aspects and in all fields, even the horse drivers, even the...
on and off, actually, in so many events, you know, not even now, you know, they're just suffering.
The thing is, we have to keep our situation, our political situation, our safety situation fixed.
Yes.
Because we take one step forward and then something happens, then we take 10 steps back. This is what's been happening for 10 years. So we have to guarantee that nothing wrong will happen in the past year, sorry, in the next year or so we can get the business.
Yes.
But as I said, the world media, they are so hungry to hear about anything negative in Egypt.
Yes.
And they just bring it into the front, you know, the front pages that makes the headlines.
And unfortunately, like even some Egyptian papers, you know, that just, you know, to sell, do that, you know, which is really...
Exactly. They just want to make the news, so they are just portraying all the negative...
Even wrong information, you know, they're just put there, you know.
Exactly. And as I told you, the world is hungry to only see the negativism that happens in Egypt.
Exactly.
Not any other country.
Yeah.
It's only Egypt.
Yes.
You know.
Well, it's the microcosm of the whole universe, as you know, all, you know, philosophers and writers wrote, you know, so...
But you know, we all now understand that they're doing this to us.
Yes.
But it's our job as well to fight it, not to give them the chance. You know, I don't know if I may criticize one little thing just in front of the building over here.
Yes.
I don't know who's the genius who decided to pave. I mean, we walk, I'm telling you, and we write, both of us, we write the good things and the bad things. Yeah. The wrong things, I don't know who, but he needs to go to court. Yes.
Yes.
Who decided to pave the side of the road with granite.
Yes.
Smooth granite.
But anybody can fall and
watch this in the winter.
It was one drop of rain.
Yes.
One drop of rain in the winter and you'll have you'll have people dead.
People breaking their legs.
Yes.
I mean, who did this? This needs to be brought to court and he needs to fix it from his own money. I don't care if he sells his own.
Tremendous amounts of money.
There is city planning and there are city planners and there are standards for every job.
Yes.
There is a standard for every job. Where are these standards? Do you know about it? Why don't we apply it? Instead of giving someone a job that he doesn't know anything about, and he comes up with something that is extremely awful and painful, you know. So we need to bring out the standardization books from our drawers and go by it, follow it. We need to be in touch with the world. You see, As I said, we're not creating the wheel. We're not inventing the wheel. We want to do everything with a standard. Our restaurants have to be up to an international standard. Our restaurant hygiene has to be very important. To tell you the truth, it hurts to read this in almost every guidebook that telling the tourists that you will get sick in Egypt because of the. It really hurts, you know. So we need to update. We need to uplift everything we have. Restaurant hygiene standards has to be of an international scale. Our streets, our traffic, everything has to be of an international scale. Our tour guides, our cruise boats, our hotel services, they have to be of an international scale. Then we can compete, you know. But there's no way that our services are below expectations, way below expectations, and then we're calling the tourists to come. So we will hear nothing but bad reports and negative comments. You know, so to avoid this, we have to raise our services to an international standard. There is an international standard, let me tell you, for everything, you know, so we should follow this and apply to it.
You know, if we apply the law, if a cruise ship on the Nile dump the waste
on the river,
on the river, without
consideration.
I mean, without going through the chemical treatment and everything, confiscate the boat.
True.
Right?
That will never be repeated by anybody else.
No, that's it.
Exactly.
The law has to be, you know.
And let's whoever did this, 5 years in prison, polluting the Nile.
True.
No one's going to do it.
Yeah.
The Nile that was a god in ancient Egypt.
Well, it's just, you know, so, you know, say we have the Nile. Then, you know, why are you abusing of the Nile? Remember in Aswan, they do respect of that, and I'm like, you know, he said, no, you're spoiling. You're just like, you know, just like desecrating something very saintly. It's like, don't spoil our Nile. Don't dirty our Nile. You know, this is very important, and it's blue. The color is just wonderful. You know, and when I came back to Cairo here, I was like, why is it gray? You know, it's like you feel, you know, like.
You know, in one of the manuscripts found in one of the tombs from ancient Egypt, and was testifying to God that he never polluted the waters of the Nile. And because of that, he was asking to be to be sent to heaven.
Well, it's part of heaven, you know, as we stated, you know, it's like, you know, part of heaven.
So we should actually do everything, and as I said, follow the international standards. Since we both are tour guides, we need to bring the tour guides into an international standards, linguistically, and in appearance, and in manners, and we should all be given a course of how to accept the others, how to accept other cultures, how to accept other religions, how to accept other ideas, you know, because representing 90 million people, so you should be on that international standard. If you have a different opinion, you keep that to yourself.
Of course.
You say that to your friends when you're out, but when you are at work doing a tour, you have to be following certain standards in the way you look, and the way you speak, and the way you guide, and the way you get off the bus, and the way you come back to the bus, and the way you eat, everything.
Be professional first.
Absolutely. We have to be professionals in every way. Again, I'm really sad and sorry for the people that have left the business, those who could not wait for any longer, and it will take us a long time to
and it
call
will
them
cost
back.
the country.
It will cost us. It will cost dearly. It will cost dearly, you know, in every aspect. But we also have to open our eyes and change some of the laws, because there are a lot of tour guides that can change their jobs. So all these tour guides that have left the job and worked somewhere else, they had to submit their identity, sorry, not their identity, they have
license.
to their license, and, you know, to take another job. This is why they have left the job permanently. So why can't they say, so why can't they just suspend the work permit or the license for a certain period of time?
They do now.
They do now?
They do now.
So this is a new arrangement.
Yes, they do now. You can hand it back.
Yes.
And go and get you know, a new job or anything, and then if you want to come back to work as a tour guide, then you apply for it again one more time and they give it to you. I mean, they already did this, I mean, after 5 years. I mean, with the previous government, I mean, we were screaming and we were saying, you know, what can we do? I mean, life is tough. And
you're
Cannot stay forever without money.
and by law, we're not allowed to take another job. So we're sitting at home doing nothing.
They are a big issue that we are all freelancers. You know, we're all freelancers.
Yes.
And then the tax department is treating us as if we are owners of business. We do not own the business. It's the travel company that owns the business.
Yes.
We get hired by day by day. So we are not owners of the business. We are freelancers. So how can we get our tax documents if we own the business?
And the payment, and let me tell you something. Everything has to change.
Yeah.
Okay? They pay the guide by law almost $11, $12 a day.
Yeah, if you have like 30 people you're guiding,
you
still get charged $11. That's like 20 cents per person. That doesn't make any living.
Yeah.
You know?
That's below red line.
That's way below. That's way below.
It's a scandal if it's known abroad. By the way, and the travel companies, they do charge about $250 on the groups per day for the guide. So the difference, I mean, it's still going there, because according to international law, I represent in the World Federation in North Africa and the Middle East, and I see the chart of the neighboring countries, and I know how much. I mean, look at Jordan. In Jordan, the guide doesn't study, I mean, they don't study as much as we do, okay? They do have great history and everything, all my respect, but not as much as we do have over here, okay?
The amount of study we go through, the amount of experience we go through, the amount of knowledge we obtain is tremendous. Actually, we are rated as Egyptian tour guides. We are rated, the Egyptian tour guides in general, I mean, we are rated as the best tour guides in the world, you know? And we are the very, very least paid. Things have to be corrected.
So we're squandering all the good things.
This is why
Egypt,
a lot of people are leaving the job.
Yes.
You know, flat. You know, so we have to put a lot of things in consideration. All parties have to run the table like this and discuss it. Do we really want the business to be good? Everybody should get a piece of the cake. Not only one part that gets 90% of the cake and all the rest get only 10% of it. You know, I mean, how can you keep people happy and ask them to work while you're not paying them well?
Justice, you know, like it's needed.
And we should stop the all-inclusive thing.
Well, they're working on this now really hard.
But you know, why, you know, because, you know, we see in some hotels when you go, for example, to Turkey or something, all-inclusive.
In Turkey?
Yeah.
I've never heard it in Turkey.
But well, that issue was invented by the Turks. They have very much imposed it in Egypt.
Okay.
We'll stop because the new authorities now, they are very much against this idea because it has put Egypt in a very cheap scale.
Okay.
You know, so we are very much going forward.
When did it start here?
This.
Because, you know, well, in Egypt, you know, I've been really as when you travel abroad, you know, you find this, you know, here. When did it start, this issue of everything included, and what damage?
It was
did
a way,
15 years ago.
Less than 10 years. It was a way to promote Egypt.
Yes.
You know, well, we ended up having the cheapest tourist in the world. We ended up killing a lot of small businesses in cities like Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. All the supermarkets, the restaurants, supermarkets died.
Yeah.
They have already died because the tourists don't go out. They don't dine out. They don't buy a bottle of Coke from outside. They don't buy a bottle of water from outside. They don't buy a piece of cheese from outside because everything is in the hotel. So it's only the hotel that's making profit, supposedly, while the small businesses around have totally died. That's not fair. I mean, do you support the economy of one spot and leave the others? No, you should support the economy of the entire area, of the entire city, not just one spot. You know?
We need to have a course, by the way, for the tour guides regarding when they go to mosques and explain Islam. It's very sensitive now, and some of the guides take it personal.
Yes.
No. To be trained of what to say and what not to say.
Yes.
In what manner?
And what manner, exactly, yes.
Exactly.
And
what tone of voice?
Exactly. See, we're talking on the same level. You know, some of the new guides, they say, oh, the youth should have a chance. Yes, you should have a chance.
But, then, you know,
but you have to have the experience. You have to learn. You've got to learn. I have a tour guide who, when he speaks, he says, the people. No, that is not acceptable. You really have to go through a course to know how to pronounce the words. And I think we discussed this before. I mentioned it. We have someone who wants to open a training center to train languages he does not even speak the language.
But he thinks he does.
He makes sounds like the German and the French.
It's not that he thinks he does. The people around him made him think he does.
Yeah. But, you know, the people who just hired him.
No, he does. He does have the center. He owns the center.
No.
Yeah, I know.
He owns the center, and the ones
he owns the center, and he wants to make it compulsory for the tour guides, for example, to go and have their training there. Can you imagine? But he himself, who is gonna train, okay, as they say, a sick person is treating a dead guy, you know.
No. What Walid is trying to say is that we should start courses to the new and fresh tour guides.
Yes.
Not only based on
sound knowledge, not anything.
Not only based on the language skills, but based on other issues that we very strongly need now. A lot of people now think that when a tourist asks you what seems to be an aggressive question, they think that this tourist is challenging. No, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that's his way of asking a question.
Yeah.
So don't talk things personally.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. That's why he's asking that question. It's not a challenge. So how to tell him how to answer the question, this is an art that we all should learn.
Mr. Allam, I've seen a tour guide in the Egyptian Museum and his clients, hey dudes, they're not your friends.
He thinks he's speaking American, you know, like
this is
English, you know.
And, you know, I've seen the impression on the client.
This is an insult.
Of
and
course,
I said,
of course.
And guys, you know, he says, guys, come this way. No, you cannot address him this way. You cannot address. I think I remember I told you, I always go to Akram for experience, and I asked him, I had a client, I used to say, sir. He said, don't sir me. My name is David, call me David. So I said, Mr. David. He says, don't Mr. me, don't sir me. I'm giving you the permission to call me David. He have given me the permission to talk to him friendly.
Yeah.
The art of turning that client into a friend.
Exactly. And then later on he comes to you
should learn. Because you travel with him for a few days through the country.
Yes.
You are his window to understand Egypt, so there's no sir here. You know, but you as an experienced tour guide, you read the person in front of you and you find out a way how to address him. But keep in mind that the tourist, when he comes here, he is so impressed by the knowledge you have. He is so impressed by this history. So he puts you in a very high pedestal.
Of course.
So when you serve him, you are downgrading yourself. I don't mean that. There are people that has to be called sirs and ma'ams, okay, and madams. But it depends.
We've worked with sirs and ladies.
Yes. I mean, they officially have the title.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it is an art that we all should learn. What I'm trying to say here out loud is that being a tour guide is not only about passing on information about Egypt, about ancient Egypt, or about modern Egypt. It's totally an open field. We have to learn how to deliver this information in the right way, in the right manner, in the right time, in the right tone of voice.
Yes.
You know, how to turn these tourists into friends. You know, and by the way, there is a certain unseen line between the tourists and the tour guide. And that line should not be crossed. We cannot get personal. And you don't allow him to get personal with you. You know, so there are a few things. So I'm trying to say that the course that the tour guides receive to obtain their license should not only have the knowledge and the language, it should have a lot of these other things that actually part of the culture and acceptance of the others.
Exactly.
How do I want him to accept me as an Egyptian with all my ideas and traditions and culture, and how do I have to accept him, you know, with all his different ideas and religions and cultures?
Yes.
You know, that's an art.
Well, you know, like the thing is, you know, like it's not only a tour guide, or, you know, he just becomes Egyptian. He becomes, you know, representative of Egypt.
That
so
is
in
true.
every kind of.
But keep in mind too that being a tour guide is not a job; it's a gift. Not everyone can be a tour guide. It's a gift. You either have it or you don't, and it's not a job; it's a message, because you are representing your country. You are representing your nation. You're representing everything. It is a mission. This is a job of a high national security. It's not a job that anyone can do. You know, it has to have very tight qualifications, very strong requirements to be a tour guide. Okay.
I wanted to say one thing. I mean, I was talking the other day with the producer of this show, and I asked him, why don't you bring someone, you know, from the authority? and he says, oh, they want to have a written questions, and they will have written answers and things like this. You
doesn't
know,
work.
And we just said like this, and this is an open discussion,
Yes.
and we're speaking freely. So I would love for the Nile TV International, and I hope that they bring, in the next episode, they bring the president of our syndicate. He's an English-speaking tour guide, and we'd like to know his view about what can we do for tourism for Egypt and things like this. And it will be an open thing without anything being written. I would love to have them over here in this show with some of the members and tell us what do they have for the tour guides for the future and for the country, for the future of Egypt and things like this, because we all need to get on.
And through them, you know, since you know that he's representing the syndicate, it's important. But you know, like you gave great ideas, but then you know, like who presents these ideas to the authorities in order to discuss them, or let's say, you know, to start working on them, since you know they just help in raising the standards of the tourism business here in Egypt through the syndicate, or you know, like
through the. I mean, we have our way, but
no, that's not the job of the syndicate. The syndicate is like a social club. You know, they only care to the benefit of their members.
Yes.
But things that concern the business, that should be discussed on a bigger scale.
Okay.
You know. And I think it's time that we all put our hands together, you know, either the syndicate, the government, the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Antiquity, the state.
Do they ask for the members who are qualified? Like, for example, you said, you know, like, the tourist guide is gifted. Okay, great. But then, you know, that shows, you know, when with the people coming here, they'd be asking or rating, you know, certain personalities that they are wonderful for this job. Then, you know, there'd be demand on certain.
No, let me tell you something. I remember when I started doing this business, I can even recall some names. When you go into Valley, you see some of the tour guides, Malak Yakan.
You mean the old school?
The old school. I mean the big names, big names.
I mean these names can bring business to Egypt.
Going back to the same name that I just mentioned, Madam Malak, God bless her. The Ministry of Interior in Germany, they would call and see when is she free, so they can send 5 groups, and she takes them in rotation. So they get to see her schedule, and she puts, I mean, they base the trip according to her schedule, because they will not take anybody apart from that woman. Another guide who's a dear colleague for me in Upper Egypt. Certain African American groups, they don't go any trips to Egypt except with him. I mean, there is.
Some of us have really made a lot of fame, and
he has the Australian group that called you to check your schedule.
Yeah, well, that happens.
What fits you?
Yes.
There are a lot of us
and the booking
that have made a very good name and a good reputation, and they get asked by name to do a certain tour. We have a lot of these people, and we should use them. We should use them wisely to promote tourism to Egypt.
Yes.
You know, as I said, we have so many diamonds and gems in one basket, but
we have to use them right.
Yes,
we have
exactly. We have to use them right. We have to use the right people in the right.
Can I use an example? I don't know. This is an advert that's going on the television, but it's something for good. So, Dr. Jacob Magdiao.
Of course, yeah. This is where, you know, like, he is certainly
I think it's the only thing everybody agreed in the month of Ramadan about.
Yes.
I mean, we criticized this and that, but no one criticized the advert of Dr. Yaoub that is in it. I mean,
it's done beautifully. He carries a very wonderful message.
But the guy, I mean, he is something. This guy went abroad. He made fame. I mean, I heard so many stories. Just yesterday I read someone, she said, and they're very wealthy people, England, and they had an operation. And when he found out that the patient is Egyptian, he says, I don't take money from Egyptians. Very big money. Big money. And this guy came back and he started working in Aswan before they even built that hospital. And it was in his own expenses. He used to bring the nurses and the equipments and everything, and he's coming to pay back his country. Why don't we use Magdi Yaoub a lot as an example instead of a football player?
Exactly.
Instead of an actor.
No, why don't we use Dr. Magdi Yaoub and his establishment as a way to bring tourism to Egypt?
Exactly.
Cool doctors. doctors groups?
Well, unfortunately, we're at the end of this episode, and of course, we that we should just bring about and use them, right, and shine over the world, instead of just hiding our own light of Egyptians, as we are Egyptians. Dr. Magdi, but others are real Egyptians, and they show it in the world. The essence of being Egyptian, this is very important. Mr. Akram Allam, thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for being with
me.
us. Sorry, thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you for every Egyptian actually that is just shining his own light, not only on Egypt but in the whole world. And we're coming back to you next week. For now, thank you very much. I'm Narmin Nazim. Good luck and goodbye. God bless our Egypt. God bless our Egyptian army. God bless every Egyptian that has the real essence of Egypt and Egyptians. Goodbye for now.